Hello Muskogee Nation of Oklahoma, welcome to the Culinary Kitchen. This is Chef Jason of Native Chef LLC. Today we're going to be doing a pan-seared tilapia, and then we're going to be steaming some vegetables, and then we're going to saute a bell pepper at the end, and that'll be a nice part of the presentation with colors. So first part of the recipe is done, got everything in front of me, went shopping and made sure I have everything on that recipe. Next up, you got to look at what we need to start first, and that's prepping the vegetables and getting them start to get those steamed, because a fish literally is only going to take not very long at all to saute. So we'll get started. Got a lot to do. Thank you so much for watching. I sure appreciate it. I hope you enjoy this video, and we'll get started. First thing we want to do is we want to start prepping our veggies, and I'm going to start with the broccoli. So all I'm going to do is I just want to take these pieces off. They're kind of like trees. I just want to trim down, and then I turn, and I trim down and then turn. So just kind of trim it down until you get to the middle, and then the middle piece might be a little larger, and we'll cut that right in half. So we'll start with that. Next up, we'll cut up our carrots. So I'm just going to cut the tips off here, and what we want is we want pieces that are kind of at an angle like that. So basically, let's see, if I turn like this, so I want 1/4 inch pieces, and I want to cut at a bias so that we get these nice oblique shaped pieces. So 3 medium-sized carrots or 2 large carrots like these. Next up, we're going to use our double broiler, and as I said in Kitchen Essentials, this is probably one of the most important pieces of equipment you're going to need in your kitchen for healthy cooking. And it's basically, it's got a pot at the bottom, and it's got this pot with perforated holes. So we're going to put water at the bottom, and then we're going to put the veggies on top, and then we're going to bring it up to a boil, and we're going to steam. So we'll add our broccoli on one side here, and then we'll add our carrots on the other, and we'll just steam these until you can easily put a knife into the carrots. And that's why it's important to cut them a 1/4 inch thick. Any thicker, they're not going to get cooked in time, and then our broccoli is going to be overcooked. Next up, we'll cut up our bell pepper. We're going to saute this, and this will be a nice topping. So I'm going to tear the middle out of there, knock out all the seeds. Next up, I'm going to take the ends off, and I'm going to cut a little bit out of the middle here, carefully. Always cut away from yourself. And then we want these strips. So I'm going to cut it down here, and then I'm just going to cross chop. And then our last cut for veggies, we'll just cut up a little bit of fresh parsley for a nice garnish here. And these are about 4 ounce tilapia fillets, and be careful handling them so you don't split them, and you want to feel for any bones and remove those. And once there's no bones left, then we'll season it with salt, pepper, and a little paprika. The paprika will give it a little bit of color after we sear it. And once you have that paprika, kind of rub it in a little bit, and then make sure you season both sides of the fish. And we're going to pan sear it with this side, this side down first. This will be our presentation side, so this back side will be on the bottom whenever we serve. So it's been about 15 minutes now, and the carrots are nice, and the broccoli's nice and done. It's still got a nice color on it. So what we'll do is we'll just cover this, and we'll use it for our plating, reserve it for our plating. Okay, I preheated a pan. I'm going to add just a little bit of oil here, and we're going to sear our red bell peppers. It isn't going to take very long. We'll just sear them real good, get them on the bottom. We'll cook them for a couple minutes, just get a little bit of color on them. And then after about a couple minutes, we'll just stir it and add just a little bit of salt, not too much. We'll get that stirred in really well. We're not going to salt the broccoli and carrots. So what we want to do is have people have a bite of this with a little bit of salt mixed in with the carrots. So I'll remove this from the pan, and then I'll just add a little bit more oil here. And we want to start pan searing our tilapia. You really need to have a hot pan to do really good seared fish. Now this tilapia is going to cook quick, so we didn't want to mess with it when we first put it in, but nice to have a good thin spatula. We want to break that sear, so really get underneath the fish, and we'll flip it over and we get a nice color on the bottom. And what I did here is I put our carrots and our broccoli on the bottom, so then we'll just kind of put some of these sauteed bell peppers right on top. And again, we didn't salt the carrots and broccoli, but we did salt those, so hopefully they'll have a few pieces of each. And then we'll take our nice pan seared fillet. Shouldn't take long, about 5 minutes or so total, 4.5 to 5 minutes. And then we'll squeeze some fresh lime juice. This is what we're using in place of a lot of salt. We'll use some fresh lime juice. You can always use some orange juice or lemon juice. I prefer lime juice right on top. And then we'll finish it with just a little bit of fresh green parsley. So a few takes from this recipe. I did half. The recipe you'll get will say to use a pound of fish, 4 ounces each. So if you do that, utilize your oven. Your oven can go down to like 165, 170. Put your oven at that. When you pan sear both of them together and then get the first two done, cover them, partially with a piece of tin foil on a plate and put them in your oven so that you can hold them until you're ready to plate. Same thing with the steamed vegetables. Once I turned it off, once those are done, you can take them off the heat, put them in the oven and let them hold and wait for you so that everything's done at the same time. It's important not to overcrowd your pan. If you overcrowd your pan, then you're not going to get that nice sear, and the fish will start releasing moisture, and then you're actually kind of boiling it versus getting these nice brown marks. A lot of people with fish, they think they have to cook it with butter, and I showed you we don't have to do that. We could do a taste test with just the seasonings that we put, salt, pepper, paprika. We could do a taste test with fish that was cooked with butter and fish that was cooked with olive oil like we did, and I guarantee you probably 4 out of 6 are going to not know exactly which one was which. So that's again a chance to save some calories. It's always nice to use fresh vegetables like this and make them bright and colorful using that double broiler. If you don't have one, I strongly suggest that you invest into a double broiler. One of the most important pieces of equipment that I have in my personal kitchen. And meals like this, you just feel good about yourself. You're getting a healthy piece of fish, and you got these nice bright color vegetables, carrots and broccoli, and you got a nice bell pepper that's got some color on it. So really easy, great meal. I showed you how easy it is. A lot of places charge a lot of money to do this for you, and you can do it at home. You can do any recipe that they can, and I'm showing you how easy it is. It's just that initial steps of making sure you have everything, prep your stuff before you start cooking, and then have fun cooking. Another tip is, a lot of people say I'm a bad cook, but I always tell them that you can be the best cook in the world if you actually learn from your mistakes. And me, I've made 1,000 mistakes over my life in the kitchen, but you know what? I learned every time. I learned. And I still make mistakes, and I still learn. So don't give up in the kitchen. You're not a bad cook. You just need to learn from your mistakes. So thank you so much for watching. I sure appreciate it. I had a great time. I'm going to have a really healthy lunch here. And again, stay safe out there. And until I see you in the next video, take care of yourself. Miigwech.